What you're watching is a 14-minute preview. Channel members got the full 33-minute investigation with all evidence and documentation on January 3rd. This preview shows you what happened. The full breakdown shows you why it matters.
They just made their move, and judging by the headlines, you think they just saved America from the next 9/11. I need you to pay close attention to what I'm about to walk through, because this isn't your typical FBI press conference. This is Larry with Hidden History and Biblical Mystery, and what we're looking at here is the most sophisticated identity theft operation they've deployed yet, except this time they're not stealing people, they're stealing concepts. This is documented warfare against our research, the Turtle Island framework, and every identity claim we've been building. So let's break down what actually happened versus what they're telling you. December 2025, the FBI announces they stopped a massive terror plot by the Turtle Island Liberation Front planning New Year's Eve bombings. Sounds like a win for safety, right? Wrong. This is conceptual identity theft, the same playbook as census reclassification, but for ideas instead of people.
Over the weekend, my office, along with the FBI, arrested members of a far-left, anti-government domestic terror cell who self-identify as the Turtle Island Liberation Front. The individuals were arrested on Friday, December 12th, when the group attempted to construct and detonate IEDs out in the desert. In addition to the arrests, we executed several search warrants throughout the nation. I want to thank our partners at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Louisiana, U.S. Attorney Zach Keller, and the U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts, Lee Foley, for providing valuable assistance over the weekend with a very complex and coordinated search warrants that were done. The charges we are announcing today stem from the defendants and their co-conspirators' detailed, coordinated plot to bomb multiple U.S. companies on New Year's Eve. Thankfully, that plot has now been foiled thanks to the hard...
Here's what the media won't tell you about these so-called terrorists. These terrorists have a YouTube channel, which is ironic. What kind of terrorists have a YouTube channel?
You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious.
18 subscribers. Their Instagram had 939 followers, and that account was created just 5 months before the arrest. First post was July 2025, brand new group. Total videos, 1. Posted September 16th. This dangerous terror network had fewer followers than your cousin's cooking page. Now here's where it gets wild with the FBI's role. There was a paid FBI informant on payroll since 2021, 4 years as a professional. An undercover FBI agent was also embedded in the group. First contact was late November 2025. The plot emerges November 26, 2025, just 2 weeks after FBI contact. Arrest came December 12, 2025. The informant and agent were involved in every single meeting. On December 12th, they drove the suspects to the desert in 2 cars. The informant drove one vehicle, the undercover agent drove the other. They set up tables, tents, started assembling materials, and then the FBI arrests them before they build a working bomb. One suspect literally said the FBI was 100,000% watching them. Yeah, because the FBI was in the car with them. So here's the critical question. Why Turtle Island? This is what they're hiding from you. Turtle Island represents Black indigenous identity claims, Moorish historical continuity, census reclassification evidence, Black Hebrew Israelite research, your ancestral land rights. Now look at who they arrested. Audrey Carroll, white woman, Zachary Page, white man, Dante Gaffield, appears white or mixed. Tina Lai, Asian woman, not one black person in the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Read that again. The people who have the actual genealogical, historical, and biblical claim to Turtle Island, black Americans, Moorish scholars, black Hebrew Israelites were not represented. Instead, white anarchists with pro-Palestine messaging, legitimate cause, wrong geography. Here's why you're the real target. They can't directly arrest black people for researching census records, which are public documents. They can't arrest us for analyzing demographic impossibilities, which is mathematics. They can't arrest us for making historical arguments, which is protected speech, or teaching biblical geography, which is religious freedom. So instead, they create a fake Turtle Island group with 18 YouTube subscribers. They embed an FBI informant and agent immediately. They manufacture a terror plot in 2 weeks. They generate massive media coverage, Attorney General press conference level, and they poison the entire Turtle Island concept in search algorithms.
Thanks to the hard work of the FBI and the Department of Justice. This investigation was initiated in part due to the September 2025 executive order signed by President Trump to root out left-wing domestic terror organizations in our country, such as Antifa and other radical groups like the Turtle Island Liberation Front. As the president made clear, recent attacks across the country have highlighted the grave threats posed by these far-left domestic terror groups. These threats are sophisticated, organized campaigns of targeted intimidation, radicalization, threats, and violence designed to silence opposing speech, limit political activity, and direct policy outcomes and prevent the proper functioning of a democratic society. In direct response to the President's order, the Attorney General issued a memo to our offices implementing and mobilizing federal law enforcement to prioritize and counter domestic terrorism and political violence investigations. As a result of those directives, we built this case. Both my office and the FBI have invested substantial resources into investigating and charging these organizations. And if anyone does not believe that members of these groups are organized, sophisticated, and extremely violent, let me tell you about the plot in this case.
The result? When someone searches Turtle Island now, they find FBI terror arrests, bomb plots, radicalized extremists, violence, and threats. They don't find your census research, Black Indigenous continuity, historical reclassification, evidence, or our legitimate claims. I've documented a 44% impression reduction on my channel since mid-2024. Now we know why. After these arrests, YouTube's AI learned that Turtle Island content requires scrutiny, that historical indigenous identity claims equal potential extremism, that anti-government historical analysis gets flagged for review, and that Black researchers discussing reclassification are higher risk. Your 400 plus videos now competing in an algorithm that's been taught Turtle Island equals terrorism. Look closely at the pattern. A brand new organization with 18 subscribers, one video becomes national headline material overnight. An FBI informant on payroll since 2021, an undercover agent embedded by late November, a plot that appears within 2 weeks of first contact, and then a choreographed desert arrest, tables, tents, staged assembly stop before a working device ever exists. Why Turtle Island? Because it hijacks a term rooted in Black indigenous identity claims. Moorish continuity, Black, Hebrew, Israelite, research census reclassification evidence, and welds it to terrorism for the search engines to swallow. And who gets arrested? not the people whose lineage and scholarship anchor the term. Instead, a cast that reroutes the narrative while the algorithm learns a new reflex. Turtle Island equals extremism. Since mid-2024, I've tracked a 44% impression drop. After these arrests, the AI gatekeepers tightened. Historical analysis gets flagged, reclassification research gets paused, biblical geography gets pushed to the fringe.
It's got the full 33-minute breakdown with complete evidence, algorithmic documentation, and the COINTELPRO timeline. Link to join is in the description.
Now, understand something clearly. The FBI has a documented history. COINTELPRO, decades of operations, of infiltrating movements, manufacturing threats through paid informants, and arresting people for activities the FBI itself facilitated. And this operation follows that exact pattern. The target shifted from Black Panthers to Black indigenous researchers. The language changed from communists to domestic terrorists. But the playbook stayed identical. They can poison search results. They can criminalize terminology. They can arrest groups with 18 YouTube subscribers, but they cannot erase what's documented in census records. They cannot erase what's written in the land itself. They cannot erase what's encoded in our genealogical continuity. Keep teaching. This level of operational deployment proves the research is over the target. The census reclassification happened. The indigenous identity continuity is real. The land claims are documented. They wouldn't execute an FBI operation to counter a fantasy. The truth doesn't require their permission to be true.
Good morning. Again, my name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles Division. As we're all aware, we've had a busy weekend in this country and abroad with bad news incidents one after another. Today, we are announcing a major victory in our collective effort to protect the American people. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force intercepted a scheme by members of a violent extremist group we believed determined to detonate explosives at multiple businesses on New Year's Eve. Last Friday, the FBI arrested 4 of those subjects near 29 Palms in San Bernardino County while they planned and rehearsed their attack. The 4 subjects are members of a radical faction of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, TILF, a violent, homegrown anti-government group. The subject arrested envisioned planting backpacks with improvised explosive devices to be detonated at multiple locations in Southern California, targeting U.S. companies. These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve. The plan stated that the IEDs would be complex pipe bombs. It included instructions on how to manufacture the bombs and contained guidance on how to avoid leaving evidence behind that could be traced back to them. Our investigation uncovered evidence in that the group would test the explosives in the desert. And we're going to show footage of that here in a second. We learned that the alleged co-conspirators had recently started acquiring precursor chemicals and other items necessary to accomplish this task. In recent days, the alleged co-conspirators discussed plans to travel to the desert on the 12th to detonate the explosives. Knowing this, the FBI's JTTF and the FBI Los Angeles field office staged multiple SWAT teams, special agent bomb technicians, our evidence response team, along with the FBI's elite hostage rescue team in the desert to disrupt this plan before any harm could occur.
These 4 domestic terrorists, really look at them. This is Audrey Carroll, a.k.a. Asiganak, a.k.a. Black Moon, a.k.a. I identify as a terrorist. This 30-year-old has a self-described terrorist diary full of plots that, according to her own words to the FBI informant, never happened. She's a Hamas fangirl who fantasizes about violence but never executes. The perfect patsy, someone who writes elaborate plans in blue ink but needs an FBI informant to actually do anything.
Got the full 33-minute investigation January 3rd. Complete timeline, COINTELPRO analysis, all evidence. Join for full access. Link below.